Victoria. Ashford thought she knew exactly who belonged in her boutique and who didn't. One glance at the wheelchair rolling through her glass doors, and she'd made her decision. What she said next would haunt her for the rest of her career. Within 8 minutes, her perfectly curated life would shatter like the crystal champagne flutes she served to her elite clientele. Her hands would tremble as she packed her designer belongings into a cardboard box. Her reputation destroyed. Her job gone. But to understand why this single moment of cruelty cost her everything, we have to go back 10 minutes to when Marcus Chen was simply a father looking for the perfect gift. The late afternoon sun painted Beverly Hills in shades of gold. Inside Elegant's boutique, everything gleamed with the sterile perfection of extreme wealth. Crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across white marble floors, so polished they reflected like mirrors. Mannequins stood frozen in gowns worth more than most people's cars, their faceless heads tilted at angles suggesting superiority. Marcus Chen had driven 40 minutes through Los Angeles traffic for this moment. His daughter Sarah was graduating summa cum laude from Stanford in 3 days, and he wanted to give her something special. Something that said he was proud. Something that matched the woman she'd become. He rolled his wheelchair through the parking lot, the California heat warming his face. The boutique's glass doors reflected his image back at him. A man in an expensive suit, successful by any measure, yet still just a father who wanted to make his daughter smile. He pressed the accessible door button and rolled inside, breathing in the familiar scent of luxury retail, leather, perfume, and ambition. For exactly 12 seconds, Marcus Chen felt welcome. Then Victoria Ashford noticed him, and the temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. Victoria's heels clicked against the marble like a countdown timer. Her eyes scanned Marcus from wheelchair to tie, her expression shifting through calculation to dismissal in under 3 seconds. She didn't see the platinum watch. She didn't notice the bespoke tailoring. She saw only the wheelchair, and in her narrow worldview, wheelchairs didn't come with black American Express cards. She positioned herself between Marcus and the main display floor, her body language screaming barrier. Her perfectly manicured hand gestured vaguely toward the door he'd just entered. She began speaking in that particular tone wealthy people use when addressing those they consider beneath them. Slow, loud, and dripping with false politeness, the poorly masked contempt. She suggested he might be more comfortable at the outlet mall 15 miles away. She mentioned that their pieces started at prices that most people found prohibitive. She emphasized the word most people while looking directly at his wheelchair. Every word was carefully chosen to humiliate without providing grounds for a formal complaint. Marcus felt the familiar burn of discrimination, that unique pain of being judged before you speak. But he remained calm, explaining quietly that he was here to purchase a graduation gift for his daughter. Victoria's smile never reached her eyes. She informed him that their graduation gift selection required appointments made weeks in advance. Store policy, she claimed. For valued customers only. What Victoria didn't notice was the security camera directly above her head, recording every word, every gesture. She didn't see the young sales associate in the corner, eyes wide with horror, quietly reaching for her phone. And she certainly didn't notice the black Bentley that had just pulled into the parking space labeled Reserved Corporate. Marcus felt the weight of every stare in that boutique. 3 other customers had frozen mid-brows, watching the scene unfold with the morbid fascination of strangers witnessing a car crash. None of them intervened. A young couple near the handbag display looked at each other uncomfortably, then looked away. An older woman examining scarves suddenly became very interested in her phone. Victoria took another step closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow felt louder than shouting. She told Marcus that his presence was making other customers uncomfortable, that perhaps he didn't understand the caliber of their establishment, that she would hate to have to call security, but she would if necessary. If your heart breaks for this injustice, Please like and subscribe to support respect and dignity for all people. Because what happens next proves that karma is always watching. The glass doors whispered open behind Victoria. She didn't hear it at first, too focused on her mission to remove Marcus from her pristine store. But Marcus saw the change in the young sales associate's face, relief washing over her features like sunrise. Heavy footsteps echoed across the marble. Confident, purposeful. Expensive Italian leather on stone. The footsteps of someone who owned the ground they walked on, because, quite literally, they did. Victoria turned, her condescending smile still frozen on her face, ready to greet what she assumed was another wealthy customer. The smile died instantly. Her face went from ivory to ash gray in the span of a heartbeat. Richard Blackwood stood 6 feet 4 inches of barely contained fury in a navy Tom Ford suit. The CEO, a majority shareholder of Elegance Boutique Holdings, had just finished a meeting downtown when his regional manager called about Victoria's behavior. She'd been on thin ice for months. Customer complaints about elitism, staff reports of cruelty, but always skating just under the line of actionable offense. Not anymore. Richard had reviewed the security footage on his phone during the drive over. He'd watched every second of Victoria's performance, and his decision was already made before his hand touched the door. Richard didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Power, real power, speaks in silence and certainty. He asked Victoria to step into the back office. Her legs trembled as she walked, heels no longer clicking with confidence, but stumbling with dread. Marcus watched through the glass partition as Richard held up his phone, playing back the footage. He watched Victoria's face cycle through denial, excuse-making, and finally, the hollow-eyed realization that she destroyed her own career. No yelling, no drama, just quiet, absolute consequences. Richard returned to the floor minutes later. Victoria followed, carrying her personal items in a shopping bag that had, hours earlier, held a customer's $5,000 purchase. Her eyes were red. Her perfect hair had come loose from its bun. She walked past Marcus without looking at him, pushed through the glass doors, and disappeared into the Beverly Hills afternoon, her red-bottomed heels carrying her away from the life she'd built and destroyed in the same breath. Richard approached Marcus, extending his hand with genuine warmth. He apologized, not with corporate deflection, but with human sincerity. He invited Marcus to shop with his personal assistants, anything in the store, all expenses paid. Not as compensation, but as the basic respect any customer deserved from the first moment they walked through the door. Marcus declined the offer of free merchandise, but accepted the apology. He selected a beautiful designer dress for Sarah, paid with his black card, and thanked Richard for his integrity. Sometimes karma doesn't wait for the next lifetime. Sometimes it arrives in a Bentley, wearing a Tom Ford suit, carrying security footage and the power to change everything in an instant. Victoria Ashford learned that judging someone's worth by their appearance is a luxury nobody can afford. Marcus Chen got his daughter his graduation gift and something more valuable, a reminder that dignity cannot be taken, only given away. The question isn't whether you'll face moments of injustice. The question is, when you witness someone being treated unfairly, will you be the couple who looks away, or will you be the person who stands up? What would you have done?